Hey besties, welcome back. I'm Sabrina, for those of you who don't know me yet. And I want to talk to you about what I plan to read in March. I guess you could call this a TBR video, but I don't have like a fancy little TBR jar or anything like that. I have a ton of books that I want to read, and I'm trying to make sure that I'm pacing out my Libby holds correctly and also keeping up with my Amazon first reads that I want to read and all of these things. And also, well, hold on. Before we go there, let's rewind a couple of days, because one thing that I said I wasn't gonna do, I ended up doing. Friends, I did a book haul. Okay, I don't want to get into doing like tons and tons of book hauls and over consuming books. That being said, A, she has a shopping problem and she's on a low buy year like everybody else. And B, books are the one thing that were not included in the low buy. So I technically gave myself permission to buy as many books as I wanted to, thinking that I'd be able to control myself. Listen, am I regretful that I purchased books? No, I'm never going to say that. Do I regret that I found a way to circumvent the low buy system? A little bit. So I feel like I should have controlled myself, and I use this as I use the fact that I could buy unlimited books as a reason to skirt around the parameters that I gave myself for the low buy. And I should not do that again. That being said, let's go take a look at what I did buy, and then we'll come back here and we'll talk about March, okay? I went to the B&N to just do a walk around and kind of see. I was actually looking for one book in particular because it was like exorbitantly priced on Kindle, and the paperback is cheaper. So I was looking for one book, and she's full. I don't know what happened. Sorry. So just, bear with me. I just want to show you the books that I got, because you're not often going to see me doing a book haul, but it just happened today, okay? I will say, disclaimer, yes, those are Christmas decorations you see in the background, and yes, it is February. We leave up our Christmas decorations until the end of February. That is just normal in my household. We have a February birthday, and so it makes that person very happy to see Christmas decor up for their birthday. So that's what we do. We don't have a tree or anything, but we have all our Christmas decor is up. And I also just realized, looking in the viewfinder right now, I am wearing the same outfit shirt that I wore the last time I filmed. It's because your girl is lazy. I did the laundry. It was on the top of the pile. It's what I put on this morning. Anyway, let's get into it, because I don't want to keep us here all day. So, I need a little coffee before I get into it. I did get some zebra pens, the Sarasa zebra pens, to use for annotating. I have a book for book club that needs annotating so that I can remember it, because we're not going to talk about it until like the beginning of March, but I want to read it right now. So, here's what happened. I went in for Your Girl, Real by Kennedy Ryan, because first of all, I love Kennedy Ryan. I love me some Kennedy Ryan, okay? And I like having her books in physical copy. I read one book on Kindle, and I don't know, I just like holding her in my hand. So this is the book that I went in for. I got it, okay, we're good. Can't wait for her new book to come out in May. That is going to be a day one read, y'all. Day one. So anyway, this is what I went in for. I got it. So at least we were successful in that much. But let's talk about what else happened when I was in there, okay? So first of all, I was perusing the shelves and I came upon The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. So I think I've spoken about this before. I absolutely effing love this book, right? This book is it for me. I listened to it on Audible, so I did not have a copy of it. And one thing about books that I absolutely love from Audible is that not only do I want it as a trophy, but I want to go back and reread it. Like, I want to actually physically read it. I still absorb the story, but there are some like minute details that I may have forgotten after listening to the book instead of reading it. And so I just want to go back and like have the physical experience of reading it. Plus, she's such a beauty. So I'm excited to have this on my shelf. So I had to get myself a copy of this. I had to, right? I had to. There's no choice here. Is what it is. While I was there, I also picked up the Atlas 6. So I've been meaning to read this, and I ended up buying the second book because it was like 99 cents on Kindle one day, but I haven't actually read the first book yet. So I just ended up picking it up. Okay. And here's the thing. Here's what you're going to learn about me very quickly. A sprayed edge, it'll get me every single time. Okay. And so then I went over and I perused a little bit of V.E. Schwab because, you know, I'm in my V.E. Schwab era right now. Don't mind my dog rolling around. He's making a bunch of noise in the background. I do apologize about that. So this is what I picked up. The Near Witch, because this is the one that I want to read next before I get into the villains. Is it just a duology? Listen, before I get into the villain series, right? I want to read the Near Witch next. I almost bought the villain series too, but then I was like, girl, calm yourself down. Because at this point, my shoulder was about to fall off from how many books I had in my bag already. So I only bought this one, but trust, I will be back for the villain series, okay? V. Schwab is one of those ones where I want to have the author on my shelf, just like Kennedy Ryan. Hi. My dog has come over to see me. He does, even though he's a robot, he does like to hang out with people. So if he hears your voice chattering, he will roll over to where you are because he wants to be near people. Like, that's like a programmed thing for him. So it's just super cute. But anyway, he hears me talking, and so he had to come over and see me. So anyway, so then I found, hi. So then I found another sprayed edge book. Okay, it's not even anything fancy. It's just that it's a sprayed edge. For me, I like a paperback. I love a sprayed edge. The prettier, the better. I love a beautiful cover. And I do not like deckled edges. I don't like the feel of a deckled edge. I don't know what it is, because you don't necessarily have to touch the edge, right? But for me, I just don't like it. So every time I see a book that has a deckled edge, I'm like, nope, put it back. Anyway, so I found this one with the sprayed edges. Cover, actually, the cover's giving. It's not like the prettiest cover I've ever seen, but I liked it. So it's called If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. I know nothing about this author, nothing about this book other than what I read on the back, but you know, I was intrigued. So it's a little bit of a mystery. M.L. Rio holds an M.A. in Shakespeare Studies from the King's College, London. Okay. I mean, yeah, like, I don't know. I don't have to read the trendy TikTok books. I want to read a book that sounds good, that looks good, and that has a sprayed edge. So this looks like a fun, light read, and I will let you guys know how it goes when I read it. And then, my friends, it is February, which means it's Black History Month, and I'm rooting for everyone Black. Like, that is one thing you gotta know about me, is I'm rooting for everyone Black, okay? So the reason I was looking for Real is because I want to make sure that I read a Kennedy Ryan book in February, just for my own personal whatever. I also just want to make an effort, a point of supporting Black authors during February. Not that I don't want to support them every month of the year, but like especially in February. So what ended up happening was I bought a couple of books that are by Black authors that are on my list, but not really at the top of my list. I won't be reading them anytime soon, but I wanted them to feel that purchase in February, if you know what I mean. You know, I mean, I know royalties don't exactly work that way, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying, right? It's the act of giving the support in the month of February. So one thing that I picked up, and I'm trying to remember which order these go in. I don't know, because like I said, these are kind of like not at the top of my read right now list. But anyway, what I got was Children of Blood and Bone and Children of Virtue and Vengeance. So this is book 1 and 2, and I can't remember which one goes first, but of a series. And there are more. There's at least one more, but they didn't have it in the paperback sprayed edge because I think, not totally sure, I think it's a little bit newer, and so it was all sold out like completely. So I mean, again, I'm not going to read these right now, but I wanted to support Black authors in the month of February. So I will be on the hunt for the next 1 or 2 or however many there are in the matching sprayed edge form. And I will be purchasing that, and then I'll have a complete pretty set for my bookshelf and read them at some point. I have like 80 other books that I want to read, so I'm not in a rush, and I got those 2, and I'll get the other 1 or 2 or whatever whenever I can find them. In that same vein, here's something that is close to the top of my read now list, particularly because there's a 3rd book coming out very soon, and your girl wants to read those. Okay, so Legendborn, yes friend. I also got Blood Marked, and I think the 3rd one that's coming out is called Oathbound. Is that right? And also Tracy Dion's going on tour, and I am so sad that her stop near me is sold out, but that's okay. What's cool about these books, other than, of course, we got sprayed edges. What's cool about these books is that at least for the first one, I don't know if it remains that way throughout the books, but at least for the first one, the main character is near me, like in real life, like is in North Carolina. So, it's like a local sort of situation. It's the same reason why I want to read The Unmaking of June Farrow, because that also happens in North Carolina, a little bit further away from me, but still. So anytime I can have like a local where like I can actually read descriptions of my local scenery and like, oh yeah, I've been there too. I have one of my very best friends went to Chapel Hill, which is the college that the main character is at least in the beginning. I don't know what happens in like the end in book 2 and book 3, but at least in the beginning, they're at that college. So like, I know a couple of Tar Heels, and so for me, like that is what drew me into that. But also the cover's very, very pretty. And it's a Black author and the main character is a Black girl. Sign me the hell up. And it's a fantasy. Like, listen, what could be better? What could be better? Truly. Now, the 3rd book is not out yet. So of course they don't have the matching paperback to it. But I will be hunting that down when it comes out. Do you hear me? I will be hunting it down. So that's my haul for today. I got 9 books, and let's not do that again. I didn't need 9 books, but I really wanted to be supportive. And of the 9, only 3 of them don't have sprayed edges, so you know where my heart truly lies. If you want to sell me a book, spray those edges, bestie, okay? Okay, well, anyway, so that happened. But like I said, almost no regrets. Let's just not do that again. Okay, so I do and I'll tell you the reason why I excluded books from the no buy was because I want to still have physical books. I have a Kindle, and I do love my Kindle because it's convenient, but I also just love the feel of a nice paperback book in my hands. So, I don't want to have 0 hobbies, and shopping is already my hobby. So I'm replacing that with reading. Not really. I'm bumping up my reading by not going shopping. And so I didn't want to have like 0 fun whatsoever in the year, because that kind of sucks. So anyway, let's talk about March. So one thing I realized is that I struggle with like, okay, which book am I going to read next? And that's probably not a problem that's unique to me, but I decided that like the best thing to do would be to kind of like keep track in my phone, on an app on my phone. Actually, it's just a notepad on my phone, of like the books that I have and like the medium that I'm going to read them in, so that I can pace out my Libby holds. Because you know how Libby likes to do a sister, like everything all at once, right? And B, I can make sure that I am starting my book club book on time in order to be able to discuss it with book club. because I don't want to like have to scramble to read a book in the midnight hours before the book club gathering. And then C, just to like make sure that I'm fitting in the books that I really truly want to read and not just being distracted by the latest shiny book that I saw on somebody's Goodreads review and I'm like, well, that sounds like fun, I want to read that. And then I'm never getting to the books that I really truly wanted to read, right? So this is the purpose of kind of keeping track of it. And it's my own sort of like TBR jar situation, right? But I'm not going to do prompts because I want to read the books that I want to read in the order that I want to read them in. So anyway, let's get into what I'm reading for March. That way you can follow along, read along with me, and we can discuss in the comments. And I'll just say, my husband was like, what are you going to do when your TBR list is empty? And I'm like, sir, first of all, her TBR list is hundreds of books long. Okay, so that's probably not going to happen anytime soon because people keep writing new books. And second of all, we're not going to run out of books to read. If I finish my TBR, I'll just read the rest of the books that are not on the TBR. I mean, get it together, Mr. Strickland. Anyway, this calls for a beverage, I think. Hold on just one second. I feel like I need a bev. And the camera's on top of the beverage fridge right now. So, you know, how about limoncello LaCroix? It's the second best flavor there is. I love tangerine. That's my favorite flavor. Limoncello is my second favorite. So, cheers. Okay, so March is Women's History Month, and so I decided of all the books that I really want to read, that I'm not going to read any by male authors for the month of March. I mean, that's not actually hard to do. I realized when looking at my list that the majority of my books are written by women, and that's fine. So it's not actually a stretch to do this, but like I just like am being very intentional about only reading books by women authors for the month of March. That doesn't matter to anybody but me, but here we are. Okay, so I have divided this list by audiobooks, Kindle books, and physical books. So for my audiobooks, the one book that I know that I want to listen to is The Dictionary of Lost Words. It's something I got in a 2-for-1 sale and it just like really intrigued me. Off the top of my head, I don't really remember very much at all about this book, but I mean, I'll just put a little graphic of the cover there for you to see. I think okay, if I remember correctly, I think it's something about the lexicographers who work in like the way back of whenever in England, as you do. It's something about like a girl whose father works there maybe or something, and she then grows up in the library. I think I'm on the right path. I don't really remember anything else about the synopsis that I read. I mean, it was an Audible 2-for-1 sale. I was picking books that I could use my credits for that seemed interesting. And I love anything that has to do with language and libraries and books and things like that. So hey, that's what we got. I also, a while ago, started Jessica Simpson's memoir Open Book, and I never finished it. So I think I want to finish it because it kind of bothers me that every time I open Audible, this book is like unfinished. I like to finish a book and then archive it. And so like keep my library very clean. And this book has been in there for a while. So I think I'm going to finish that in March and we will attribute that as a book read in March. I think I'm maybe halfway through it. I don't travel a lot this March. Praise the Lord. So I don't think that I'll get through more than the 1.5 audiobooks. So we'll just leave it at that. For my physical books, I am going to read, or I want to read. Let me say I want to read. Let me just say that I want to read all these books and I have a goal of reading 50 books a year. But like, if I don't reach my goal, it's fine with me. So if I don't finish reading all of these books in March or read any of these books in March, it's fine with me. I'm not trying to keep a particular pace. I have noticed that my pace tends to be about 8 books a month. So I kind of plan for that. But if I don't keep that pace, it's fine. Whatever. So anyway, so physical books. I am planning to read The Near Witch V.E. Schwab. I want to keep going in her catalog. And then If We Were Villains, I think it's by M.L. Rio, is that right? So this is one that I picked up in the haul just a couple days ago. And then for my book club, we have not picked our March book yet, but I truly enjoy the book club book being a physical book so that I can annotate it, which helps me with the discussion when we get to book club. The first time I read for this book club, I didn't annotate, and I read so many books that I find that some of the smaller details of the book are missing from my memory, and like I'm unable to have high level intelligent discussion about it, which is fine because I'm a good times reader, but I do want to be able to do that for book club. Okay, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, not every book, just once a month. So annotating is helpful. I don't like annotating on the Kindle. I mean, I have a Paperwhite signature, and so annotating is really just like highlighting and making notes. I don't enjoy it. I do love a good flagged book, which I think you'll see when I go over my February books. You'll see my annotated book for book club. Okay, moving on from my physical reads. Kindle's hard because you have to play the Libby game. And then sometimes there's a book that I want to read that's on KU, and by the time I get around to reading it, it's no longer on KU. Now I gotta go try to Libby it. It's a whole thing, y'all. Anyway, here's my plan for Kindle. I don't know if we'll be able to stick to it, but I'm gonna try really hard. So my plan is to read Babel, which is, I have it in my Libby holds and it's available right now if I unsuspend the hold, but also it's available on KU. So I'm kind of playing the game there. I think I'm gonna leave that one for like the last Kindle book of the month. And then just grab it from wherever if it's still on KU. If it's not, then I will read it from my library. The next book that I want to read on my Kindle is The Warbler. It was a Amazon First Reads, I think. No, not I think, I know. It was an Amazon First Reads and I downloaded that one. And I was reading the synopsis last night and I really want to read that one. So I'm going to make that one a priority for March. And I checked that it has a female author, so that fits for me. And then the last one that I put on here is Crying in H Mart, because just this morning it became available from my Libby holds. So I'm currently in the middle of reading The Familiar, and I should be able to finish that on Kindle. I should be able to finish that by the end of this month, February, which means that I will pick up Crying in H Mart in 2 days. I will read that one and all will be well with the world. So that's kind of my plan for March. I doubt that I'll read more than 8 books in March, but like I said, I don't have to travel nearly as much in March as I typically do. I'm usually on the road like 16, 17 days out of March. And this year, your girl lucked into a travel schedule that only has her on the road for 4 days. Can you imagine? So I'm gonna have a lot more time at home. So I should have a lot more time to read. So we'll see if I read more books than that. I may not even finish all of these, and in which case we'll just push them into April and it'll be fine. So yeah, grab your books, read along with me, and we'll come back at the end of March and we'll talk about it. Sounds good? All right, well, thanks for dropping by, besties, and I'll see you in the next video.